This week in comic books, it's all about the teams this week, right? The building of teams. Well, except for one book that actively works against being a member of a team. We're going to talk about these comic books, but first I have to share with you a Coffee Brand coffee ad. Check it out. Hey, you wonderful weirdos. As I mentioned in the beginning, this week it's all about the teams this week, which seems kind of like a weird theme for a week. But hear me out on this as we go through our favorites and our not so favorites. Remember, this is a superficial review of the issues, not the full story themselves. So take that as it may. All right, let's kick it off with my favorites. All right, so right up off the bat, we got DC Vampires. I'm enjoying this, right? And in this one, we get our different little silos and our cliques. But the question is can we bring any of them together? Well, Damian Wayne, who is a vampire, but actively fighting the vampires, is trying to join Oliver Queen, or Green Arrow, and his team to kind of work some sort of deal out. Doesn't seem to be working out very well, but we'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure that will change. And also we get some more of that Green Lantern Alfred going on, which is just weird to me. It's fantastically weird. But in this one, we just see these various groups trying to survive in a world where a lot of the heroes that we've known are vampires now. They're the bad guys. And these kind of lesser known ones are kind of like just scratching to survive. Looks like John Constantine's got a plan with some woo-woo magic. We'll see how that turns out. And more importantly, we found out that Barbara Gordon, who is the vampire queen in this issue, well, she's not dead like we thought. She's actually alive. So that's probably going to get pretty vicious. And more intriguing information about Mr. Miracle's kind of weird half-breed kid that's vampire human. Again, I think the story would be fine without the Miracle Child scenario going on, but it does add some level of complexity to the story, which keeps you engaged. Absolute Batman. Now, generally, Batman's famous for having a group of people around him, if not a ward, but in this one, we're really kind of highlighting the fact that he has these friends that he grew up with that are kind of in some shady stuff here and there, right? But they're not like his rogue gallery that we would know him as today. They're really just poker buddy of his. And apparently they like to talk about what's going on in Gotham, which we find out is where he gets a lot of his information from in this. I thought that was great. We also get introduced to this new Batmobile. As far as I'm concerned, might as well be the Killdozer. The thing is ridiculous, like, I don't know, 5 miles a gallon, maybe? The thing's huge. I just thought that was great. It's action-packed, ready to go, and we see our team up in here, keeping with the theme this week. We kind of see this whole, now we're kind of seeing the Alfred secret agent guy, right, kind of teaming up with Batman in this, plus his team of friends and everything else, and even the villains have a team in here. The party animals are going a little harder and being funded through mysterious means. This has been a solid read so far. Yeah, we're 2 issues in, but I've been absolutely looking forward to this. And I'm a guy who just casually buys comic books. I don't usually go hunting down for things. With that said, Turtles of Grayskull. So the first issue, I was a little critical on this one. This one, I'm kind of enjoying a little bit more. Once we kind of get off of you just threw us into this thing, we kind of get this linear story that's kind of working out a little bit, and people having to switch roles or switch environments or be a cameo in somebody else's environment. That's how that word actually works. But I digress. But in this one, we get He-Man's going to go over to New York City. He runs into Casey Jones. And that's, again, when a hero meets a hero, that generally doesn't go well in the beginning, as we all know through the trope. And we also are going to see the Turtles and Eternia kind of fighting over there. All this is kind of wrapped around this still kind of confusing, time warping, time traveling woo-woo story that I could care less about. I really dig the artwork in this. I think it's great dialogue in it. And there's a lot of nostalgia pills in it. Like, if you remember, I don't know if you remember this. If you know, let me know down in the comments down below. But He-Man had this toy. It was a little spider. And as it moved, the thing spun around. Like, we saw that in this comic book. Immediately, I got my nostalgia pills out of it. Being cartoons and toys from my era, yeah, that was kind of cool. Some would say it's paying homage. I'm just saying it's giving me a reason to buy. Transformers. So this did something funny. I saw this cover online. Somebody was showing us. And at first, when we first glanced at it, I thought it was Starscream stepping on a Cobra Hiss tank, right? But nope. In the book, the mechanic, general mechanic guy who does the salvaging work for Cobra, literally combined the two together to bring him back to life, to try to blackmail him, to help him so he can further his own career. This does not work out. If you know anything about Starscream, there's one thing he's good at is scheming. Another thing he's good at is building a team. So he saves the Combatatrons, right? The Transformers, bad guy Transformers, right? Saves them, gets his little team together, and pretty much squashes, because he keeps calling them squishies. I love that. This had a more humorous take on it, right? But the whole melding, since we know that the G.I. Joe and Transformer things are going to be colliding into each other, this was kind of reaffirming that this is going to be a fun thing to read, and that I enjoyed it for. Again, team building. Right up off the bat, in my favorites, pick of the week, and you knew this was going to happen. I've never said my unbiased review. They're all biased. And G.I. Joe, #1, come out. But they did something really cool in here. One, again, on our theme this week of team building, Duke has to kind of deal with this whole, how do I build this team of completely different individuals and get us to kind of work in harmony to accomplish our goal and our objective. That's always a great story to tell. How do we help each other be better and successfully go forward and attack goals? I'm on that all day long. Love it. And we see the formation of Cobra a little bit more strongly in this too. And remember the pew pew lasers from the G.I. Joe cartoon, which never made sense, right? Well, now it makes sense. They legitimized it with the Energon energy from the Transformer story. They got little Energon batteries. They're shooting lasers now. And we may have lost rock and roll in this. I hope this is not a spoiler. I'm not going to tell you how. You definitely want to read that. And of course, Baroness is right now a G.I. Joe. Right? The kind of conflicted member of it, granted. But technically, she's a G.I. Joe right now. So I'm kind of curious to see that kind of how that's going to flow. It's like this story has me wants me to speculate on the story, right? Versus the cost of what cover or whatever. Like I really want to see them dive into this and have some fun. And we pay homage in this as well. Because each one of the characters are so unique and different, you kind of have to explain them. Remember the G.I. Joe data cards on the back, right? It's kind of a trope with the G.I. Joes. Explain who they are. And they did that very well in here. Very simplistic. The artwork, I don't know about the artwork. I'll be honest with you. I'm here for the story, but it just felt like, I don't know. It's not bad, right? But it's not like making me lose my mind over here either. So I can get past that. Plus you get to see all the cool stuff that you remember the G.I. Joe's is famous for. It's vehicles, it's weaponry, it's characters, it's diverse characters, and the whole 9 yards. And we may have gotten a first appearance of a new G.I. Joe, which I'm kind of excited for. Maybe, I don't know. Because like there's a lot of stuff in the 90s I don't know about G.I. Joe. So it's new to me. I think that's fair. And he's on the cover. This guy. Whatever this guy. If that's a new G.I. Joe, somebody let me know. I don't know. I hope it is. That would be kind of cool. All right. Unfortunately, here it comes. So we only got one on this list today. Right? And it's one of those things I always feel sticky icky talking about on here. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to get through this together. Definitely let me know your comments down below. We're going to talk about Psylocke #1. here's the sticky icky of it, right? I know Psylocke is a fan of people out there. I get it, right? But we're looking at this not as the characters, as the story. Does the story make sense? And in this one, not so much. Quick synopsis, Psylocke we're still jumping off the Krakoa era, which I wish we weren't, but we are, right? Still very traumatized by that whole epic event. And she's not coping well. And she's on a team, kind of, but she doesn't really want to be on the team. She wants to be her own independent agent that's got all this crazy in her head. Just to keep things colloquial, we'll just say crazy. So Cyclops is like, hey, I'm going to bench you for a while. Let you you're not getting any sleep. You're not doing, you're not functioning at a normal level. Even for us mutants, you're not functioning at a sustainable level. And she's like, all right, I'm going to go have sex with Forge because he understands my trauma. That's not a good message here, but whatever. Okay, fine. And then she's got a new guy at a desk, supercomputer hacker guy, and tells her about this thing that's happening that an evil organization by the name of AIM is doing. And the new MacGuffin is that there's patches that you can put on regular people and they give them mutant powers for a period of time. Unfortunately, they're getting these powers from kids, so it's basically a child auction, some child trafficking going on there. And she goes in by herself to take care of it because she doesn't need anybody else. And I'm like, just kind of threw off the theme for this week about teamwork, building people together. And I was just like, I don't know. And the whole thing is just a mental acuity of what she's going through, but refuses to deal with. Now, again, remember my reviews here are per issue. All this could be a lesson in the next issue, whatever the case may be. Again, I know Psylocke's a fan favorite out there, but I just found this story kind of missing with no hope or road to redemption in it. So, I don't know. So that's my comic book haul and review for this week. Definitely, what did you read? What did you pick up? What did I miss? Is there a new story arc going on? Am I missing something? It's nothing for me to go back to the comic book shop and pick something up. And with that said, I hope you all have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.